Transformation of sine function, question 3. Graph gx equals to sine x plus 1 in the domain x greater than equal to 0 and less than equals to 360 degrees. How is the graph of g of x related to the graph of f of x equals to sine x? Determine range of g of x. So let's first sketch the graph. So we need to sketch graph of g of x, which is sine x plus 1. So what I'll do is I'll make this, let this be my x's, and let me first draw f of x, which is sine x, and that is the sine function. Correct? So let me draw some guidelines. So that is the time period, 360 degrees. Correct? This is 180, and here we have 90, and this is 270 degrees. So we have 360 degrees, 0 degrees, 90 degrees, 180 degrees, and 270 degrees. This is along the x-axis. And on the y-axis, we have plus 1 here and minus 1 here. So for sine x, time period of 360 degrees, maximum value is 1 at 90 degrees, and minimum is minus 1 at 270 degrees, right? Now let's try to sketch the function gx equals to sine x plus 1. Now to draw gx, we need to translate each and every point in sine x by 1 unit up. So that means this is 2, right? So it'll go to 2. So from here, this will go 1 unit up, it will remain here. This point will be there, and then 1 unit up, 1 unit up, 1 unit up. So that is the sine function which you've seen, right? So we have a graph like this. Okay. So now the axis of symmetry moves 1 unit up. Do you see that? So instead of at x equals to 0, the axis of symmetry is at x equals to 1, maximum is at 2, minimum is at 0, right? So it has only one x-intercept. Earlier it had 3. One intercept at 270 degrees, y-intercept is at y equals to 1. So these are the changes which we see in the transformed function, right? So the major change which we see here is that the function gets translated one unit up. So that is the translation, and it results into many changes. One is range. We determine range of g of x. Now range is now from 0 to 2, right? So the range, that means y belongs to real numbers, so that y is greater than equal to 0 and less than equals to 2. So the range changes from minus 1 to plus 1 to 0 to 2. So that is a major change in the range. You will see how the points get transformed. In this translation, we find that if we consider the sine function, right? Let's say we have this function, sine function. In that case, each and every point, let it be denoted by xy. In that case, what will be these images on sine x plus 1? So image of this x remains as x, and y becomes y plus 1. So that is the major transformation of the points, right? At times when you sketch the graph, it is kind of important to make table of values, right? So I'll make 2 table of values here just to show you transformation of points from y equals to sine x to y equals to sine x plus 1, right? At 0, we have 0 for the sine x, right? Now at 90 degrees, the value was 1, that was the maximum. At 180 degrees, we had 0, second x-intercept. At 270 degrees, the value was minus 1, right? And at 360 degrees, it was again 0, right? 0. So these are our original point on y equals to sine x. Now what happens to these points during the transformation? So let's see what happens to the points when we do the transformation. So basically, if the points here are x and y, then what happens here? They become x and y plus 1. So basically, as we say, y-intercept now is not at the origin, but the y-intercept now moves up, right? So it becomes 0 and 1. So 1 gets added to the y values. Correct? Maximum is now 2, not 1. At 180 degrees, we no more have the x-intercept. The value at 180 degrees is 1, 0 plus 1. Similarly, 270 degrees, although remains minimum, but the minimum value is 0, but not minus 1. And at 360 degrees, we get 1 as the value. Do you see that? So that is how the points get translated, right? This is what, this is our y-intercept. Let's understand these points, right? Y-intercept. And 90 degrees, we have maximum. Do you see that? At 180 degrees, again, it is on the axis of symmetry, right? 270 degrees is our minimum. Correct? And we see now, we only have one x-intercept, and that is at 270 degrees, correct? And also an x-intercept. So this is the total effect on translation by 1 unit up. Do you see that? So time period remains same. As you'll notice, what remains same for both the things? Time period. This is very important. Time period is still 360 degrees. So time period remains exactly same. But axis of symmetry changes. So axis of symmetry now is y equals to 1. Earlier it was y equals to 0. Everything related to y has moved up by 1 unit. That is what is the major effect of this vertical translation. I hope you understand and appreciate it. You should find now rest of the questions very simple, and I'll recommend you to answer the quiz on question number 7. Thank you and all the best.